And 3, 2, okay, we're here. All right, so this is Mr. G. Welcome to the Shop Class Podcast. Tonight we got a special guest. We got Mike from Outlaw Drums. Say hi, Mike.
Hey, man, what's going on? I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the opportunity to be on your show.
This is awesome. So, and just a round table, we got 3 other shop teachers in the house. We got Nick from upstate New York. We got Duke, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, and we got Tim. Oh yeah, everybody say hi.
Present.
Yeah,
Hey, guys.
present.
Timmy,
How's it going?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. Because you know what it is, when they talk, then the recorder goes to them. Okay, so let's get right into it. Let me just show everybody what you do, which is real interesting. It is handmade drums, and the type that you can't even believe the craftsmanship. You're looking at it and you're like, wow. So just a couple examples on the Instagram. There's we'll go through this whole thing, but I just want to give people just a little taste. And this is you describing your process. And specifically, it's not just the techniques, but also the material choices and where those materials came from.
Yep.
And I thought that was very, very thoughtful. And we want to hear all about that stuff. But we have to start with the most important question that we ask every guest. I only forgot once or twice to ask. So I'm not to forget to ask is, did you have shop class growing up?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I had shop class after I graduated high school. It was kind of later on.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't really a shop class, but it was residential carpentry. I got a year and a half in just learning how to do a lot of stuff kind of early from a class perspective.
Oh, okay. Was it like a trade school?
Yeah, it was a trade school. I really wasn't sure really what I wanted to do. I knew it was going to be in wood. At that time, it really wasn't going to be drums or anything. It was just going to be, I kind of wanted to learn how to build houses. I wanted to do it all. So I started going there, started doing that. And then my sister was dating a cabinet maker right down the road from the tech school. So I got a part-time job. And then I was going to school in the mornings and then working at the cabinet shop, learning, and when I first started working up there, I was in my early 20s and I didn't care nothing about shop really in high school. I was more on the aspect of riding bikes and that kind of stuff. I mean, I did care about shop. But it was only on the aspect of building ramps, cutting out the transitions and that kind of stuff. Kind of fascinating.
For BMX bikes?
Yeah. We was big into that. Yeah. And so I knew it was going to have something to do with wood. And at the school, we had different projects, they would have us build a gazebo and cut all the rafters out at once, and then put them all up, go ahead and pre-cut all that stuff out, which is freaking scary because, you're cutting rafters going any other direction and hoping and praying all the formulas are going to work out, doing that kind of showed us how to, use the CNC machine and that kind of stuff. So I definitely got a pretty good spark from that. And I started working right down the road at a local cabinet shop, and learning this fascination about wood. And my sister was telling me, said, I'm dating a guy that owns a cabinet shop right down the road from the tech school. I was like, no, I didn't. And he said he has to check his wood with metal detectors. And I was like, what? He has to check his wood with metal detectors? I was like, oh, really? My God, tell me more about this. And so he would use heart pine, and he would go out there and do heart pine stuff too. So I want to start working with him. So I went in there basically as an apprentice and learn how to build cabinets from their point of view. So I was working in the shop, real life, and then I was in the tech school kind of doing the book stuff too, and man, I learned so much. And then later on, they had me come in to do a cabinet making and contest to, be a judge for a cabinet making contest, So I started building cabinets, and the cabinets is kind of what actually helped the drums kind of take go, because a lot of the same tools are being used and that kind of stuff.
let me ask you a question about this heart pine. I just do like metal work and automotive and electrical, and I know nothing about heart pine or the different species. And luckily, you and Tim are here, to educate me and also anybody else who doesn't know what I'm sure Nick knows and Duke knows. I don't know what this, heart pine, smart pine. I wouldn't even know the difference. But I appreciate that you do, and I would like to learn some. So I pulled it up. So there we go. The essential.
Oh man. Yes.
Yeah. You need this book, the Essential Wood Book.
Oh man.
That's what. Let me see if that has heart pine in here.
Okay, that sounds cool. What's in the Essential Wood Book? Is it the techniques or just the type of wood?
I believe it is the Essential Wood Book, so it is only about wood, not techniques.
And
you ask a stupid question, you get a stupid answer.
That's okay. I know nothing about this stuff. Very cool. The Essential. I will pull that up. That's awesome. Okay, and what's the characteristics of the heart pine? Like, why is that a good thing for a cabinet or a drum?
Well, here's the thing. A lot of times, heart pine is like extremely, extremely hard to work with. It's probably in my opinion, it's one of the hardest woods to work with, period. So kind of started off on that. I just loved it. I loved the way it smelled. I loved how you had to go get it from old buildings. And I just loved the whole aspect of it. It was rare, and it was from like virgin trees that was, that was here when Columbus came here. So these are old trees that was growing, and you could just get it from, old houses that was, built before the 1920s or 30s. And you would have that rich red growth ring pattern that was just amazing. And when you cut it and sanded it, and it was just so cool. It sanded really good and just sounded good. And I really wanted to try something unique. And I started, hearing all these things about different types of wood. So why not make a drum out of heart pine? It's like just for experimental things. That's what I did. I made one out of heart pine, and it turned out like really cool. I was just like, man, this is really neat. But the problem is see, heart pine is real brittle, and it breaks and splits and cracks and all that kind of stuff. So later on, kind of got different techniques to kind of help with that. But it definitely was the start of Outlaw Drums. That particular stuff, And I love the old wood about it, and it just has a uniqueness. It's unique sound, unique look, and you just cannot. You can't get new wood and make it look like that, in my opinion. I mean, it's so classy.
Really?
And, yeah, it's amazing.
See, okay, so this is like, I understand the nostalgia of the, the old wood, but it's amazing. So you've discovered that this is a better material, but you do have to pull it out of pre-1900 houses. Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah. And I was kind of more fascinated about, the story of the kind of wood, not to say it sounds any better or worse than anything else, just the fact that it was, it's a little bit harder to get to, you got to really work to get this stuff. You got to tear down an old house. And I don't know if anybody ever torn down a white, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of, nail pulling and boards breaking and splitting and cracking. And it's just like, you can't use everything. So it's a lot of waste. And it's just, but it gives you the most satisfaction to me, when you make something out of heart pine versus like oak or something like that, when you can, like oak, in my opinion, it's just like you could fix oak, you could, make oak look amazing easily. But heart pine, you just can't put putty in oak. I mean, pine, heart pine, Yeah. It's
now, is this tree not around anymore, or is it just that it's different grain structure now?
Yeah, I mean, there's still trees like that. They're just not you just don't see them like you used to.
Okay.
They was everywhere, but these trees took 300 to 400 years to reach maturity.
Wow.
Where now, you're talking about 20 years, they can get full size. So once a tree like that's cut, we're not going to see another, one of those but there is, trees like that around. There's some around here too. but they're the ones that are real tall and skinny. Not saying skinny, but they're just real tall and straight. And at the top, they got like a little bush kind of growing at the top, And that's why we use that particular one on the badge of the drum. It's just because of that,
That's cool. And what's really nice, like if someone's listening to this, you got to check out Mike's Outlaw Drums YouTube videos. We'll get more into it. I just want to give a little background that like you literally they talk about the history behind all these house builders from the 1900s doing it all by hand.
Yeah,
and it's great video. Like it's so cool to see all these things. And then they talk about, how they got it out of the house and whatnot and what it looks like. It's very cool. I got into it. I got romantic. I was like, wow. I was like, wow, this wood's so cool. I could see that happening. It's kind of like a hot rodder getting an old barn find, not the whole car is usable, but the old feel, like, of course you could just make a new panel or buy a repo or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not the same, Yeah, I agree. I know.
So Ron, in this book, it just says that in a living tree, the heartwood is for support and doesn't conduct water or store food. Yada yada yada. Heartwood is usually darker in color than sapwood because of its higher level of extractives, which also makes heartwoods, for some species, highly resistant to decay, while sapwood has very little resistance. So it is a much harder wood to deal with.
Okay. And is that just the inside of the tree, or is it the whole species, the whole thing? I know nothing. I'm just asking, like.
It's mainly like the core, if you want to.
Oh, okay. Is that why they call it the heart part?
Yeah. Like it's the inside. And then
so not all the way to the bark, but like something on the inside.
Yeah. So like what you would probably know easily, Ron, is like cherry. Cherry sapwood is very blonde in color, where heartwood of cherry is redder. Like white oak, there's a sapwood to white oak, and that typically rots away in the woods very easily. And then the heart of the white oak stays in the red oak as well. So heart pine, sapwood of the heart pine tree rots away, and the heart pine of that particular species is very rot resistant to any other pine species.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, that's cool. Interesting.
Yeah.
Very resinous.
Nice.
Yep.
And
that heart pine is amazing. And a lot of times when that tree is cut, it's like it's not as red. It takes like a long time for that wood to turn that reddish kind of amber color. And when they do cut it, it doesn't. When they first got it cut, it didn't look like that. But it's definitely So it's an amazing piece of wood, man. It really is. I love every bit of it. It's and the southern yellow pine. A lot of times you can go. Sometimes you can go, and you can find some really super tight. Have you ever go into a home center and you find just some of the pine boards, or maybe you're building something and you see a piece of wood in there that's like got super tight grain pattern with it, and you're like, man, some of them are different. It depends on what a cut. And a lot of times that probably may have been a long leaf, but because it takes a while for that wood to start turning that rich amber color, like I say like 100 years or something, exposed to light, and even I've seen it. Like like cherry will have it'll start turning color and start getting richer with age, and it'll start turning that real specific color. I've noticed.
See now, we have a lot of southern yellow pine in my shop because we took the old bleachers that they had, and then we reclaimed them. We just have a big stack of that in the shop, and then the kids can use it to make projects out of it if they want, as a material. And then you try to tell the kids, like, listen, this is old bleacher wood. We just call it the bleacher wood. And then you explain to them it's glued up pieces. These were the bleachers. That's why they have the holes in them. That's why there's gum all over them. And
I love it.
It is cool to reclaim and use that. in part of the project, especially when you do it with something that's school related. Like, for example, when I first got the bleachers from my school, I went to the boys basketball coach and the girls basketball coach, and I made them actually a wooden clipboard, and I gave it to them. And the next thing you know, it turned out everybody wanted this wooden clipboard made out of the old bleachers. And then, so I just made a whole bunch of them and gave them away as gifts.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was pretty neat because everybody's like, "Oh, I got a piece of the bleachers," and it's durable. It's when I put decent finish on it, so to make sure it was protected and so you can write on it. But it is cool to have that in our, I'll say, inventory of species to work with.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So Mike, Tim is a shop teacher, and he does a lot of turnings, and they come out.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's nice.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. What kind of wood am I looking at here, Tim?
That's maple and cherry.
And the maple is the lighter color, right?
The lighter wood, yeah.
Okay. The only one thing I do know is on the guitar sometimes they use rosewood, and sometimes there's a maple wood neck. That's cool.
That is really nice. That is really nice. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, they do great stuff.
Wow, it's crazy. You talk about those bleachers. Somebody gave me a bunch of bleachers one time that I traded, like the dining room tables, from my old gymnasium, and I thought it was heart pine for the longest time, and it looked like heart pine. I was like, this has got to be heart pine. It's got to be. And I started feeling it's a little bit lighter, and I started playing it down. I was like, man, it was old Douglas fir. And I'm gonna tell you, I made a whole line of drum kits out of that Douglas fir, and then once it was gone, but literally, like you're talking about, I was having to scrape the glue and seeing all the holes all the way in it, because that wood was real stable, because it's been dried for so long, and it was inside too, so it was just like premium drum building wood, and and I don't have no more. I wish I did have some more of that Douglas fir. God, it was beautiful.
So now
look at this wild thing.
Golly,
a student made that. The problem with the bleacher wood that we've been finding since we're using it, it's actually too dry. Like, hold on, Ron, go back, go up
over here.
No, down one, down, right there, next to the ducks to the left. That is the southern yellow pine. That's old bleacher stock.
Wow,
that is nice.
Yeah.
So
I have.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Tim.
Some of the pieces are even still finger jointed together, which is cool when you have that. There's other pieces you'll run across that are glued wrong, so they must have glued the strip 90 degrees, so the grain structure is different. So it is pretty neat to see that and get those random pieces that are not as, I'll say, common like that is.
That's cool.
But
that is nice.
It splinters really, really easily because it is so super dry.
Oh. Cool. Wow.
Man, if you were to make it down to my area, man, I got so many pieces of wood that need to be turned, like beautiful pieces of chunks of different kinds of like walnut and cherry that we've accumulated over the years, where I was just like, I don't want to saw this up. I want to use it for something else. Because my dad was big into turnings and stuff like that. That was, oh my God, that is so pretty, man. Jeez.
Yeah, that last one you just showed. That last one you just showed was that a female student actually did that one, and I have her again this year. So she did that. That was inspired the way the pattern is there.
Man, turning a bowl on a lathe, that is number one, it's dangerous, and it's so people don't realize, man, how fast that stuff and how easy it is to break, how that stuff can break so easy and starting back over from scratch.
Yeah, 70% of the stuff turned on the lathe gets basically destroyed.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's a low successful rate. Like I have a kid right now that I'm working with. His bowl's been thrown off the lathe 3 times. I think today was the 3rd time it got thrown off the lathe. But I have to just keep on trekking and just find another way to mount it, or cut a new tenon, or do something else to try to get it to stay on. And you try to explain it to kids that you're pushing too hard, or You know, you're not really feeling the wood as it turns. And I try to tell the kids, it is just so hard to teach the lathe because a lot of it is feel.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is feel. And the problem is the feel, I can't teach that.
Yeah.
Like Ron's always said, I can't tell you how to ride a bicycle, but like with the lathe, I can tell you how it's supposed to feel, but until you feel it, it's totally different. So
wow.
Now, I guess my next question was going to be, or one of my questions was going to be, do you turn the drums that you make? And I guess from what you're explaining, you don't.
I used to. Let me tell you why, man. I'll tell you, because to get a lathe turning that fast with something that big is extremely dangerous. And I've had a couple of lathes that I tried to make work, and even like smaller drums I've tried. It's like, I'm going to do a 10-inch tom or whatever. It's like, I'm going to turn it this one. And it is a hassle, man. But that right there is the ticket, man. I found out that doing it with a flush cutting bit right there, literally is the game changer for me, because I can use that circle jig that I have to make the first pass, the initial pass around it, which you don't see me doing this one, but I've already ran it one time with the bearing on the bottom.
Oh yeah.
With a template.
Wait, let me ask you a question. Is this top disc the bearing for that flat?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's what it's following on. That's actually the part two. That's the second step. That's the second step.
Yeah. How'd you get the first? Yeah.
So the first one is literally it's a piece of plywood mounted to the bottom of it, and that bearing flips off and it goes onto the bottom.
Oh, okay.
That way I can do a drum. I can do one, like 9 or 10 inches tall. Now, if I got to do like a big kit, it's a little different story. I have to have a whole nother setup to do like a kick drum, which, I post a lot of those videos on my TikTok. I show a little bit more stuff like on my TikTok than I do like Instagram and Facebook.
You're worse than the kids. You moved on to another platform. I got
to keep up what's going on. And, that's where the attention. I got younger kids too. And I'm always looking at the attention. I'm looking at the kind of music they're listening to. And I'm studying this stuff. I really am. The sounds, the tones, and figuring out different ways how, because I think, doing this with the drumming, man, it's just like you got to just be so flexible and just being able to bend and move to where the market is, and definitely, I show a little bit more of kind of that kind of stuff with the saws and cutting. And I've just learned that people like to see wood being cut real close up. It's very easy on TikTok. Like literally just get a camera, hold it on a saw blade, and start cutting a piece of wood. It'll get 12,000 views. I was like, well, man, to get 12,000 views on Instagram or this, I have to do a lot more work, and it's just really fast. And the platform's early too, so I was able to kind of. And sometimes I'll shoot one over there on my story or something from Instagram. I'm very picky about the videos that I put on the platforms. I kind of use like Facebook and Instagram more for kind of sales. I'm not even trying to sell on TikTok yet. I'm just just building it up. But we've been doing it since about 2011, and I've just been real steady at it, and being able to just kind of. It's a hard market, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say that it's just
Oh yeah, I was thinking that it was. I was watching.
It was a super hard market. Well, it's competitive because people can buy a drum kit for $500, where one of my snares costs more than that. So how do you sell a $500 or $1,000 snare? I'm making one right now for $1,000. That top one was $1,000, and it's it takes a lot of time, and people have to be very comfortable with your brand. And there it is, right there.
Oh yeah, there we go. There's part one.
Yeah. That's a shaper, Ron. That is an extremely dangerous machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. And I've definitely chunked some boards chunked some drums across the shop before with that sucker.
Yeah.
You literally. I have to gear up for it, man. I have to gear up for it running that sucker. It's just because like you said, stuff breaks, stuff chips, knocks out. And a lot of times if I'm making a drum for a customer, I'm building 3 drums at a time. And a lot of times, all 3 of those drums won't make it to the end.
How do you get it to not just throw this right out of your hands?
Yeah, it's just knowing the machine, just like he was saying earlier, knowing the machine, the feel of it.
Oh
It's
God.
definitely something hard to teach. You just kind of
That's
have
gonna
to
be a
do
lot
it.
of power. It's pretty wide, so it's like cutting
It's
a
cutting
lot.
a lot off at one time. Yeah, it cuts off at one time.
Is that bit
and
that you're running helical?
Do it now?
Is that a helical or a carbide tooth one that,
Yeah,
is
it's
less
the
aggressive
spiral.
than a flat, vertical?
hmm Yeah, it's
So
the
it's
spiral
cutting
cutter
like
where I'll
that.
just I'll rotate the cutters, around periodically, but it's spiral cut.
Okay.
And they last. And a lot of the times I find it's easier for me just to get a new one. They're about $400 or $500, I think. And it works for a while, but it'll just start getting real dull. But it's amazing how much that thing will cut off. And it'll cut off a finger too pretty quick. I haven't yet, knock on wood. I'm real careful with it, but if I was to lean just a little bit forward or back, I got a big old gouge right on the drum that, because all I have to do is just, if I was to pick up too much or not enough, I got to keep it perfectly flat. Here I'm just kind of shaping the bottom where it's doing that. But I found that with me, sending these little videos like this to the customer that I do, like I send these videos to the customers, and it just
10,000
blows
views.
up.
This has 10,000 views. Unbelievable! It's amazing.
Yeah, I posted that one at the bottom down there on TikTok, and it got way over 1 million views. That same video did. It didn't do too well on Instagram. The platforms are different. They're picky, man. It's just like I love a challenge, and I love trying to figure something out.
Yeah, every platform's different for sure.
Now, what do you do on the inside?
So the inside, let me see. I have a special jig for that I've designed.
Oh, I saw that.
Because
is it on
none
your
of this,
YouTube?
and I don't show it a whole lot because I keep it kind of on the low because that's
okay. Yeah, we don't have to show it.
But I do. No. But I do. No, this is fine. But I do post a little bit more about it on TikTok because I don't really have to worry about a lot of the sort of competition kind of being over there. But basically, what it is 2 rollers, that going all the way down, and I'll set that drum in those rollers where it'll turn. And I got a power feeder that I use for like molding, pushing the molding through like the shapers and stuff like that. And I got it rigged up to where I put it on top.
Yeah.
To where it'll turn it by itself. So it's sitting there manually turning. And then I got like a channel of steel and put all the way across there and just basically just kind of I'll just hold it, and I'll just move it. And the direction of the blade plays a part and which way that thing plays a part. And and I'll just kind of edge it down and, about a couple passes and I can mill the inside of a shell really quick and it is perfectly round. I mean, a lot faster than it would be on the lathe. I tried I really wanted to do the lathe thing. I was just like, I'm going to do this way. But man, like the setup that I got right now for, because when we do like orders for like Guitar Center, Musicians Friend, and we're banking out 100 of them, we have to have a setup to where we can really do it. And I was able to train some guys and some help to be able to do the system. But the hardest part I found to get anybody to do right is the glue up, like cutting the boards on the right angles. It's got to be exactly 9 degree, 2 1/4, long point to long point. I'm talking about perfect. Exactly. And I had different ways of why I measured it. I should, but that right there is really difficult because if your angle was just a fraction of off, it definitely, it's not going to hold up, especially when you get to that process. There's that bleacher board right there. That was that Douglas fir bleacher board. See the holes on the side of it right there where they bolted it together. Yeah, there's there's the jig right there.
Oh yeah, maybe you're.
I think I show a little bit of it.
So are you cutting? Are you cutting those segments on the table saw? Once you set that to 9 degrees, you're setting that you're cutting that on the table saw, and then going from there.
So what? Yeah.
Are they called staves or are they segments?
Okay, so if I'm doing like what I call stave, and I don't know what everybody else calls them, but what I call stave is basically vertical, where the boards are going vertical, and I call segments where it's going horizontal. The grain's going that way you know, so I got a stave style drum and I got a segmented style drum. You know, so segments are way stronger, but they're a little bit harder to make. They take more time, and I got to take more wood off when I'm milling it. Where staves are a lot easier, but at the same time, they're not as strong too. So, you know, and that right there is a segmented drum. They're just segmented drums right there,
And
with
you
kind of interlaying some heart pine in there.
and you would think that the segmented would be weaker because you're doing end grain to end grain. But
yeah, you would think it.
You would
but
think
the board
so.
on top, but the board on top kind of locks them together.
Yeah, because I
And
do
it
the
definitely
same
is.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do the same thing with the segmented bowls. I haven't tried a stave bowl yet. That's on my, bucket list of things to make. But I've kind of mastered the segmented turning. So,
Yeah.
and I can understand you not wanting to use the lathe because that's more of a craft production when you need more of a I don't want to say mass production, but you need a better consistency, and you need more speed than you would get on the lathe.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, the lathe's kind of I love the lathe to death. I got certain things that I'll make some of the beaters on the lathe. I turn those little small beaters, and they work great on the lathe. But but yeah, the drums, man, it's all it's always been kind of a challenge. I've tried different ways. I've even was going to invest in buying a CNC machine where I can just set them in there and have it mill out. But I'm just like, man, the time that it takes to do all and the money, I'm just like, and I really like doing it by hand because it is really kind of super fun to not really know what that board is going to look like until I mill it. And, it's just, I'm obsessed with it. I really am. I get in there and start just going crazy with it. And what got me is just like, the drums thing. And I just kind of always knew that I was going to figure out a way that I was going to be different, when I was trying to figure out my area in the market, with that I wanted to build. Because I knew I was going to go all out on tables, cabinets, doors, all that kind of stuff. I was like, what area can I do that would be different? I never seen nobody build no drum out of heart pine, so maybe I'll try that. And that's kind of, it was just kind of growing and learning and just trying new things and trial and error, man. Trial and error. And
It
I don't even like
says,
doing, yeah.
Says different right here.
Yeah. We use different types of wood on that one.
Oh.
Different types of wood. I'm actually doing a kind of a neat little thing too, where people can come down to the shop and have a experience where they can stay at an Airbnb facility and help build their own drum. I'm kind of
That's
working
so
on
cool.
that experience right now because I've got the Airbnb set up, but I'm just kind of looking at the legal stuff to see what kind of insurance I have to have for that. I mean, not that I would say I would let them like mill the drum, but sand this and this is how you cut that. Would probably be more.
I run classes, intro to welding, and auto mechanics, and I have a vocational school, a traveling vocational school insurance. Yeah, we could talk later, or I'll.
Yes.
My broker.
Yes.
And it's reasonable, and you could get like $500,000 or $1 million or more coverage, and it's. I mean, it's you got to pay like $1,000 for the year, but it's not. That's not going to kill you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also saw, Mike, that you're making drums out of people's heirlooms. They're like old drawers, or if your grandfather made your table, you can pack it up in one of your boxes and you make a drum out of the family's heirlooms.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the service that we're doing too. And we've got some really cool things. I've had this lady sent me this a box of wood that came out of one of her like a door, like a door, like a gate that we was able to do. Old drawers, just anything like that. We was able to, as long as it's solid, the wood ain't gonna break, and you can kind of feel. You can tell. I found out a lot of the drum whole thing. Yes, a lot of it, but wood type. You can make about any usable wood sound good. You put good edges on it, good drum heads. The type of wood I feel like, it definitely plays a part, but it's not so much of a part to where, it's not going to sound good, because what is good, it's always it's in the eye of the beholder, I feel,
Mike, did you play drums growing up? How did you get into making drums?
Yeah. So I was in the band playing drums. Wanted to do something different and unique. So one of the band guys was like, "Hey man, why don't you try to make a drum? That'd be kind of neat." Because I was always building. I love challenges. Was doing curved staircases and anything like that. So then going to shop class, and I brought my drum that I made up to the shop class. And I look, this is a drum that I just made out of. And at that time, I just kind of glued them and nailed them together. And glued them and nailed them together, and I belt sanded the outside. And it was it wasn't perfectly round, and the jigs I got up way better right now. But when I started doing that, it just kind of grew and grew, and eventually people started asking me about making drums for them, and it just kind of steady all along while doing cabinets, because a lot of the same tools are used, and I was able to kind of piggyback the drums off the back of the cabinets.
You guys got to see this one.
So here's a piece of information for you there. So I'm outside of Nazareth, Pennsylvania, and Martin Guitar is actually in Nazareth. That's where their corporate headquarters is. They will not let you take a class to make a Martin guitar, but there's a gentleman that is like 3 blocks away that will teach you how to make an authentic Martin guitar without the Martin badges. And it's,
oh my gosh,
I think it's like a 3-weekend thing or a 2-weekend thing, and you can go do that. And so, I mean, there's people out there that are doing like what you're saying. So
wow,
it is definitely doable.
That is really insane. I didn't know that. I have to look into that, because I kind of wanted to see somebody else that was doing something similar to that. I mean, there wasn't nobody doing it in the drums I've seen, but like guitar stuff, that would be very interesting. That would be kind of neat just to kind of see, because I really love showing people. I love showing people how to do stuff and teaching. And I'm thinking about putting together some sort of a class myself, on how to build drums, to build the jigs, how to do it, different practical ways where, people can build a drum. You would just buying tools from Home Depot or Lowe's, because that's really what I have to do is, there's a couple different methods, not with the shaper, but there's this another method that you can do that was definitely way easier. Not, I say easier, but it's a little more safer,
It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a guy. I'm trying to do a search online here to see if I can find where exactly.
Yeah, I did a shop tour because we did the same thing. We had an in-service, and we visited Martin Guitar, and then we went to the guy's shop. Basically, it's a small shop.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find his name because he went to college with my old shop teacher. So we met up there, and they exchanged college stories for a while we
wow,
the shop.
So it's not part of. It's part of Martin Guitar, or it's independent.
No, it's independent. So, but you can actually go to the old factory. You can go to the old Martin Guitar factory where they originally started. And they have like a guitar makers guild, and you can buy things that are actually like authentic materials that are Martin.
Wow.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. Like that is really cool. And I follow these guys on TikTok a lot. I follow them. They do a really good marketing marketing. And I love the way they do it too.
See, Ron, if you see above where it says tours, go back up where it says tours. That building right there is the original factory, and to the left is where they would, do a lot of the in the buildings. No, back to the whole building. So see that left side there? It's like newer construction. Mm-hmm. That's where they would also make the guitars. They would literally take the lumber upstairs And then as the guitars got built, they would bring them down and down and down. So the finished guitars were on the lower level because they didn't want people carrying them up and down the stairs. They started with all the raw materials upstairs, and then they worked their way down. And then they moved to their new facility where they're at. And, that's where they make all the guitars right there.
Wow. That's just kind of really fascinates me too, because, I don't know, like when I've made a couple guitars, I just found that was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to build was a guitar. Acoustic guitar is, that's another level to me. That's a lot goes into it. And not to mention how dry your wood has to be. Like, oh my gosh, it was insane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Arch top.
Wow. Look at that. That's beautiful.
I still can't find that guy's name.
Arch top.
Unger.
Oh, Unger.
Unger.
Oh, Unger.
Yep.
Hold up. I never been there, but I heard about all this.
Dale Unger, I think his name is.
Sounds cool. And Nick, don't worry, I got your message. I'm going to get to that in a second. How do you spell Unger? Is it
Unger?
Oh, UNG.
I think one of the hardest things that I've kind of had to deal with is like learning the humidity aspect of it. In Georgia, the humidity is so high. And when you ship a drum over to like Colorado, man, you will have issues. I've had it was a drum store that was buying our drums early, and man, no matter what I did, freaking drum would always come back freaking cracked, man. I was just like, damn.
God.
And it was be perfect over. Oh, look at that. Dang.
Yeah.
That is amazing. $3,200.
Yeah, that's on my bucket list too, to make a guitar. I don't know how to play guitar, but that's on my bucket list.
Yeah, there it is.
Man.
How awesome is that?
Wow.
Yeah.
And the shop is small. It's a small shop. It's nothing big.
I think it's actually an old church too, honestly.
Wow.
Or an old government building, because it's right on the main street in Nazareth. Yeah. I was never in there, so I don't know. But
you know where else they do? They build guitars. They have a guitar building class. Is
these are all the graduates. I get it now.
The Northampton Community College in the Bethlehem complex.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's where I was going to actually take a class, was through there. But then COVID hit and all that.
Look at this jig.
Oh my gosh! Look at that sucker.
Look at that jig for the flexible board.
Yes.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Looks like you used some Purple Heart there. I love jigs. Look at that template right there. That's what that flush cutting bit would be amazing for. Cutting that sucker there out on that jig, right? Making that template on that jig.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Flush cutting that template, making it all like making the plywood be all the same.
Your thing would be perfect for that, right?
Yeah, and I do think that I do a lot of that with making the necks and stuff like that on that flush cutting stuff too.
Dude, you got this. That's your next thing.
Yes, man, look at that. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, imagine you make your own guitar. You come home with a guitar. Yeah, maybe you paid a little more, but it's yours.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, you get into the role of teacher rather than warranty guy. Guarantee. More of like the experience with the customer. I don't know. I guess you probably mix it a little bit of product work and a little bit of classes. You can't do everything,
Right.
Yeah, but you also get to pick like the grain of the wood, like where you want to position it, and if they're producing these, they might have like a robot. I know guitar does have a robot to like sand the edges. There's still a person to operate. They're proud of saying that. They still need a person to operate the robot, but it smooths the edges. You can smooth your own edges and pick where you want the grain and stuff like that. Make sure every piece of it's glued the right way. Pick your own knobs and turning screws.
Look at that purple.
Oh my gosh.
That's amazing. What is that?
That is insane.
How do you do that? Is that just fading like a page out?
It depends on the level. Yeah, a lot of times, they make spray paint that can do a lot of that stuff now too. But just dial in your spray gun. Spraying, man, I tell you, that's another whole chapter right there. Is learning how to spray.
Right to the lacquer. That was wow. That's crazy.
That is that's really cool. That
Looks
is really amazing.
looks airbrushed.
Yeah, it does.
Wow. And all the inlays too, right? Like all this stuff.
Jesus.
Is that pearl? I wonder if that's
like terrazzo, baby.
mother of pearl, yeah.
Yes. Man, this has got me wanting to make a guitar so bad.
We haven't drooled this hard on on the podcast since the terrazzo episode. There was a guy on here who makes terrazzo floors, and we were like, for 3 hours, we were like, whoa! And he showed us all his technique and everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then now every time I go into Wawa, I look at the floor because it's terrazzo.
Yeah, I was at a school this weekend. There's terrazzo flooring. I was like, ah, geez.
Wow, that is gorgeous. Oh my gosh.
What? Look at this. What is that?
Is that epoxy?
It looks like it's epoxy of some sort on top of something else.
Damn. I don't think you need to play. You just show up with this thing.
And you're done. But that'll be a bad thing, because if you pull up with that thing and then you can't play, you're like,
oh my God, you better play if you show up with this.
Out.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
That's sick.
That's cool.
Crazy.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Got another thing here. Nick, he's on the podcast with us. This is from his Instagram. He's a shop teacher. And Nick, you want to explain this?
Yes, look at that.
So we were talking about stave turning or segment turning. So that combined both. That was a mug I made.
Oh man, look at that. That is amazing.
You can literally fit a 2-liter bottle inside of it.
Oh my God.
Wow. Yes, I like how you use those band straps. I mean, those things work perfect, don't they?
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the staves? I'm sorry.
Stave turning, so where you just had the cursor on the left there, that circle. The segments are from the top of that to the bottom, and they're 8-9 inches long.
Okay.
Where like the segment on the right is just a short piece, and that would be like a rip of wood and cut the length on the with the angles.
How is it different? Just one's taller?
No, the orientation of the wood. So the one on the right, it's end grain to end grain glued together, and the one on the left, it's edge grain to edge grain, on the angle.
Which one's stronger?
The segment that I found.
This.
No, the one on the right.
One on the right. This is
that I found.
This is a segment. Oh, I see. I see the grain. My bad. Okay, now I understand.
So like that's the end grain of that piece of wood that you're purchasing.
This would not be the end grain. This would be...
that's the face of the edge grain that you're purchasing covering over.
Okay, gotcha. Wow.
So those look like they're straight pieces that was just kind of with the angles attached to them.
Yeah, I use a miter set to get my angles. They however many segments you want, you set that, and then you set your miter gauge to that. And I created a small segment to then get the correct angle, and then I angled my table saw blade to be able to rip those staves to that angle.
I say, I got a question. So how do you set your angle on your table saw? Like if you're getting ready to cut that, like is there like a digital gauge? I have a digital thing on my table saw where it's digital, and I don't even use it because it's always been off with me. I can't ever quite get it dialed in perfectly. Is there a technique that you use for that?
So looking at the segment ring there on the right, I created a piece like that to get my angle using the miter gauge setup, and that gave me my angle. So then I would take like the inner portion of that segment and lay that on the table, and then tip my table saw blade to that angle. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then rip it, and then you get your tip is touching your your fence, you rip off your other side and hook around to get the other angle on the other side of that stave.
I gotcha.
Yeah, so you just basically made a gauge block, Nick, to set the blade,
Yeah.
angle.
Because I found that miter set,
I'll be right back.
angle set thing is much more accurate than, I have a digital protractor, I have a digital, blade angle finder thing, and I've just found it much easier to rip a small segment to get my angle correct and then just tilt my blade with that.
I was going to show you. This is what I use to set my angles on my phone. Where's the camera at? Right there. Can you see that? That thing.
Yeah, like a Wixie or whatever.
About?
Has a couple magnets on it.
Yeah. That I stick down. Then I can. Yeah.
Yeah, we use those on our scroll saws when we have to get to 18 degrees. When we cut those scroll saw bowls, we have to use that. So it's just easy. Just flatten the table out, get it as close to flat as possible, then plop that magnet on it, and then just angle the table to 18, and you're good.
Oh, okay.
And then that's what I check my angle with right there. Let me see. Where's the camera? Right there. There you go. It's old school. I gotta you see it right there?
Yes.
It's a little old school, but it works good. I know exactly where it needs to be set. Yeah, I don't never trust that saw, and I don't trust that angle thing. I always go back to that to make sure, because the last thing when I'm doing like that one piece of wood that I was just showing you, that Buckeye burrow wood that come out of California, that piece of wood cost like $800, and I was just like, I cannot mess this up.
Mm-hmm.
So where are you sourcing all your lumber from then?
It just depends. Is that for me?
Yeah. Right. Tim, you're asking Mike, right?
Yeah, I'm asking where you source your lumber.
Yeah, so I'll just get it random places. A lot of times I'll get random places. I have a special dry room with a real mega dehumidifier in it that I put in for, I put, the wood in there for a couple weeks once I get it good and dry, really overly dry. And then almost kind of when I pull it out, the moisture content will want to raise to about, 8 or 9%, it seems like, no matter what, because my shop is not, it's not heated and cooled. So you can see how Matt is bundled up right now. It's cold. And so, but when these drums are in like a professional studio somewhere, a lot of times it'll shrink if I'm not careful. So I have to really overly dry it, and I can't let the drums stay out there in the shop overnight. That has to be put back into that dry room every day to let it to get it where it won't move, because wood's funky. It's funky, and it wants to, especially when it gets locked in by hardware. It's no different than like when you build like a breadboard, like a table edge, and you put a band around a table, and it always seems to want to move. It's the same exact thing. It'll move up to 1/4 of an inch in diameter on a 14-inch drum. I've seen it move that much.
Yeah.
So where do you get all your hardware from? Like, is there like a special drum place that you buy hardware from, or you have to source it yourself? Like, you make those pieces, or?
Yeah, well, some of the pieces we do make, but most of the stuff that we get is we order it from a company called Drum Factory Direct and World Max, and then I got some places where if I want a lot of it at one time, I get it from a supplier over in Taiwan. That it's the same quality stuff that's just really good, But if I have to buy it in bulk by that. It just depends on what I'm doing. Here lately, I'm just liking the fact of just doing small drums, not really trying to do bulk. I found that if I'm gonna do a whole room full of drums, I might as well be doing, cabinets or something like that. It just takes the fun. I like doing one unique piece at a time, and something that really means something, and something that I can do a story on.
Mike, how are these drums traditionally made? Like,
most of them are
sheet, veneer.
Yes, most of them are made by thin pieces of veneer glued around a circle and then pressed in from a cylinder. They put into a cylinder and it pushes it out into a cylinder with glue around it. It's ply. They normally call it plies, and they call it different layers of plies. 5-ply, 6-ply, 7-ply, 8-ply, maple. That's normally how they're made.
And are the walls as thick as yours?
The walls, they're a little bit thinner. They're
Yeah.
going to be on the lines of a little less than a quarter, sometimes 3/16. It depends. They can do custom stuff like that too, just by making theirs thick.
Yeah, but just traditionally, how wide are yours?
Ours is about a 1/2 inch to 3/8.
Half inch. Yep.
Yeah, I just want to welcome into the room. We got Mark, Willie, and Sean.
Hey,
And Mark actually is the one who kind of encouraged me to invite you on.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I think for full disclosure, Ron, I was stalking his Instagram, right? And like I had to keep up, wiping the drool off, and it's beautiful stuff. Where are you located?
We're in Georgia, 3 hours south of Atlanta.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I fell for it, and I don't know if Ron pulled up your GPS yet, but it's sorry, Duke.
We're trying to steal his vices, and now you're bringing them out. He hasn't talked about the map this whole time.
I'm proud for joining late. Sean and I were on another show, and I'm thrilled that you're here tonight playing your music.
Yeah, man. And Sean, where are you coming to us from?
So I'm in Vancouver, and I'm not driving like I was last week. I was rushing home from one of the local hood fan manufacturers that's doing some pretty skookum stuff in the passive house world. So hopefully you guys can hear me okay today. But yeah, in the office again, you can tell I'm dealing with the Zoom world with the green screen behind me, and it's had better days, I can see. So it's funny those things.
No, it's all good. We could see you.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, so we just spent an hour drooling over Mike's drum process, and I was just showing us some of his videos are like pretty amazing. He gets into like the story of where the wood came from, and so they pull them out of old houses and whatnot, and then also he's talking about the techniques, and then luckily Tim and Nick know something about woodworking, so they've been asking really good questions, and actually it's been a good exchange. Mike's getting some ideas. Maybe he starts making guitars and does like a thing where you can come down there and make your drums and stay for the week or something like that,
Awesome. Yeah, it looks gorgeous. I think I've seen some of this with Mark's good on sending me the things that he really likes to see, so I think I've seen a few of these.
Yeah, cool.
Well, it's just beautiful, right?
Awesome.
It's about keeping these crafts alive that get over manufactured across the pond, and so it's nice to see some local stuff continue on. So really cool stuff.
Yeah,
thank you. I appreciate it. I love it. It's so much fun to do.
And I mean, too, just being able to take the story of going from the wood, from the forest, all the way to some stage where someone's famous or not famous, but they're taking that wood from the forest to the stage and playing a good beat. I mean, that's pretty cool when you say that, hey, those are my drums the guy's beating to, right?
Yeah.
The badge that you have from that's a really robust brass placard, right?
Yeah.
Who makes that?
Right. It's actually a pin company. We have it made. But there's a lot of time went into designing that badge right there with the long leaf pine tree. We wanted that to be center focal of it, and handcrafted in Georgia. I don't think it's going to go. Just kind of keep it to that. It's pretty simple, straightforward, and
Hey Mike, who's the most famous person banging your drums?
John Bottom.
If he had a time machine.
I mean, there's quite a few people playing them. I mean, Todd Zuckerman over there from Styx, he's got a couple. One Republic, he's got a few. They got a couple too that he plays on. We've it's definitely an amazing journey. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Who's Emmy Sunshine?
She is a girl that we endorse, and they play our drums on. She's been on the Today Show, Grand Ole Opry. She's been playing music for a long, long time. We actually filmed this video at the shop. She came out there to the house, and they was on their tour bus, and we was just like, hey, and they come down, and I love that kind of video aspect of it, and we just decided to do a video and for one of her hit songs, and yeah, she's pretty good. She's on The Voice and American Idol and all that kind of stuff.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, and yeah, their drummer plays our full kit. He's kind of one of our artist guys. You know, Bobby right there in the back.
That's so cool. And you do all the video editing, right?
Yeah, I do.
Amazing. Yeah, you're. Really...
I gotta start sourcing some of this stuff out though. I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed, and I'm kind of not doing as much video stuff as I was doing. And you know, I just like the aspect of putting it all together. You know, and then when the drums ain't getting out and orders ain't getting out, and I'm working on a video for 3 days, I'm like, what's happening?
Mike, are your kids old enough to do the videos for you? Or at least
I wish.
Out in the shop?
My son's actually helping me out in the shop right now. He's in between school. I have him come on. I actually had him milling drum shells a couple weeks ago, you know, just milling it with the inside jig. And I'm not comfortable letting him do I call it the bus driver. You know, you turn the bus. You know, I don't let him do that, but I'll let him do the inside mill and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
And you know, and I feel like it's, you know, I just like describing through video the process of. I think that's so important. It's so important. That's one of the things that's helped us, you know, stay into the game is the ability to be able to capture. Because you can have the best drum in the world, you know, and not be able to have it out, and you know, it's nothing.
That's cool. Yeah, I mess around with guitar and a little drums, but I wouldn't even know. Like, I don't know enough about drums. You know, I showed it to a friend of mine, and he was like, right away, and he plays drums a lot, and he right away was, you know, he's looking at his phone, and he was like, "Whoa, you're talking to this guy tonight?" I was like, "Yeah." So it's impressive, you know, what you've done, you know, and the whole backstory, and it's great, man.
Yeah, man. It's like, you know, before when we started doing this, you know, there really wasn't no social media kind of stuff to really kind of to fan it into. You know, it didn't really have nothing to go by. You see a lot of people doing it now, though. A lot of people are building drums now. The competition has definitely stepped up.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's hard. And one thing about it, you know, too, is just like, you know, you're building a drum that costs $1,000 where somebody can buy a drum kit for $500. So you're competing. And I don't do it for the money. And you definitely have other ways to make money. But this is kind of a love and a passion. Maybe, you know, and it is full time for sure. It is full time. But, you know, if I get to where, you know, we're getting a little bit low and needing to do something else, I'll pick up something else, you know, and that's how I'm able to stay afloat where a lot of people, you know, are having to stop because, you know, it's a hard market to get in. It's a hard sell. It's a real hard sell.
Sure. You know, Mark and Sean, he was saying that he actually started out as a cabinet maker, and he did that for a bit and then transitioned to this.
And found such a really cool niche. And so I think that's the tough part, right? Is you got to find people that want this really amazing product that may not know where to get it from. So that's the tough part too, is just that connection as a small business. But I mean, your social media is fantastic and the brand's great. And I mean, it's when you get some of these clients out there using your tools, it's nice to help the product sell itself.
Yeah. Yeah, and I found it like when the customers, when I get a customer, I mean, they're a lifetime friend. I mean, they text me all the time, and you know, anytime they need something else, they always come back to me, and I always, you know, treat them right, and it's just like that. It's always been like that. My phone's always got messages of people playing our stuff somewhere and sending videos, and you know, and I'll get help from time to time too in the shop, you know, for if I get like an overflow of orders coming in. For the most part, you know, me and another guy, we can handle a whole lot. That's that buckeye wood right there. That piece of wood costs $200. That's the most, and it was that big, about that long. It was about that thick. And what I did, I bandsawed it. Cut it real thin, about 3/8 of an inch thick. And then I glued it onto the back of some real stable poplar. That way it gives it strength, you know. And I'm doing heart pine ones like this too now because it just gives it's stronger. And I don't have to worry about the wood breaking and all that kind of stuff, where it just adds a little bit more mass to it. And plus I can get more out of it too. So now I can do 3 drums where, you know, if I use that thick.
My God, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty gorgeous.
They look like little owls.
Yeah, it does on it.
That's totally good catch.
I think I've had nightmares with those faces looking at me.
Yeah, as soon as I see those 2 little eyes, I'm like, they look like owls, man. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
And then
I'd be careful if you keep that image on the screen for more than 40 seconds. Nick's going to turn around and start pumping it out on his CNC.
Yeah.
And then what is this the one that you added like a gold leaf to or something? Or was that the other one?
That was the other which one?
Oh,
Let me say. Yeah, that's the Buckeye one right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah.
look at these, man. This is
Yeah.
cool. Look at that.
Man, I love it. I love that stuff, man. I love it. It's just I can't get enough of it. It's really super fun.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just you know, it's one of them deals where you just know what you're supposed to do. And
Is this you?
And
Is that yours?
no. I thought it was really cool that somebody loved the brand enough to put a tattoo on their back of their thing. I thought it was really cool.
That's so
I
funny.
was so honored, so humbly honored by that. That definitely, I thought about that a lot too. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. No kidding. That is awesome.
Yeah, man. This has been so much fun on this doing these drums, man. I love it. And the people, I mean, they really they help me out a lot, man. My customers help me out so much. They constantly vouch for me. Like they vouch for me.
You have a relationship going with your customers.
Yeah, they don't have to. I mean, if somebody goes in there and starts talking smack or trash, I mean, I don't have to say anything a lot of the times. I'm just so humble by that. I'm just
whoa,
like,
that's
there it is right there.
Wow.
I cut that on my resaw mill. I got a small wood miser.
Yeah.
And I screwed it down to a piece of wood, and I was able to cut it in about 3/8 of an inch strips.
Is this the supplier here?
Yeah, that's them. Yep.
Wow.
And they shows you cutting them out. Like that's literally the piece. It's a stump. They got like dirt and rocks and all kinds of stuff in that wood.
Wow.
It is the most craziest wood I've ever worked with. It is. I mean, you can do some wicked stuff. And they do a lot of Buckeye burl wood. Yeah.
Whoa.
Look at that. Look at it. I love it how they just pull them out of the stumps and that epoxy. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna do an epoxy drum like that eventually. Just gotta figure it out. Look how big that log is. Oh my gosh.
That's like a sequoia.
I got a buddy out in
Jesus.
oh my God.
Yeah.
He's out west and he has collections of burls from walnut. Their family has a walnut production, and he's got to have 8 or 10 barns just full of walnut burls. Well, actually, he died, so his spouse has it, and I don't know what's ever going to happen to him.
Man, I would kill for some walnut burl wood.
Wow. This is awesome. So you guys might have, Mark and Sean, we got into some technique stuff too, which was real cool. I'm trying to go back for a second. I just want to show you this one bit. We're not going. The computer's getting mad at me.
Yeah, we love talking technique, technology, and
Oh man, yes.
Okay. Let me kill that one. Hold on. Sorry. 1 second here. Oh, and okay. Give me 1 sec. Yeah. So basically, how you instead of turning it, he does like a what's it called? Is it a router bit?
Yeah, it's a flush cutting. I call it a flush. It's a gigantic flush cutting bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a flush cutting bit. It's a flush cutting bit on a shaper.
Okay.
Yep.
And obviously among other things to get ready for that, but just seeing it, you see what the thought that went into it, because this is a lot of trial and error here. Yeah, that's kind of interesting, right? Oh, I see.
Yeah.
It's helixed a little bit. Yeah, interesting. That is cool. And these guys were helping me because they've done a lot of woodworking.
See that wood right there? I actually spalted it myself. Like, that piece of wood was not spalted when I got it. And I literally just, when I sawed it up, I just stacked it on top of each other and let it sit for about a month and let it kind of start mold and decaying a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I grabbed it and stacked it like it needed to be and dried it into my kiln, and it just kind of froze it. And because maple's kind of sometimes can be a little boring, but having you get it to kind of start spalting some manually, I thought that's the first time I ever done that.
Wait,
I need to work on my dust collection too.
Did you say spotted it?
Spalted.
Spalded?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like lost.
It's basically, it starts to rot, and you can't. And right when it starts to die, it starts making this decay.
It's like a form of mold.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not really good to breathe.
I may be in trouble.
Then again, Tim, it is sexy.
Yeah, I do a lot of breathing. I should wear a dust mask. I can't stand wearing these freaking masks. I can't stand how these nurses and stuff do it. Wear masks all day long. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Now, what type of glue? What type of glue and adhesives are you using to hold them together? Just like standard, like Type Bond, or?
Yeah, it just depends on what I'm doing. Like if I'm doing like heart pine, I want to use Type Bond 3. I can just use a regular standard yellow glue if it's just going to be like maple. I found that they, work pretty good. I got a little bit more time with the Type Bond 3 as far as, workability, especially if I'm doing segments. If I'm doing, but it just really depends. I mean, it all works. I mean, I've never, the glue joint, if it's glued properly, it's going to be stronger than the wood anyhow, especially if it's on, if it's glued horizontal, not vertical, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just didn't know if you use like more of like an epoxy glue, or if you use the CA glue.
Well, I did start using like the Gorilla Glue stuff real early, but it was just so nasty and I don't like using gloves, so I just kind of get my hands in it, and I just kind of use it. It's kind of therapeutic for me to pick the glue off my hands later on. I just like it. I don't know. And I like the way but Gorilla Glue, oh my god, that's so nasty. You cannot get that stuff off your hands.
Yeah, it's like a shop teacher's dream when you get that big glob of glue in here and you peel it off, and you get it's almost like a piece of skin.
Yeah, my hands are so smooth. Believe it or not, but they are smooth.
That's wild.
I'm just thinking of Goldfinger just talking right now. Good old Austin Powers. I love gold.
It's a woodworker exfoliating.
Yeah.
Yes, it feels good.
I love glue.
I was just peeling some off my hands earlier today. I blew up a drum kit today, and I was just like, "Yep." Because there's always one little spot that I miss, and I have to lose around. Like, oh, there it is. But I'm about clean now, though.
I found if you just keep a coffee can of sand, right, and an empty one next to it, you pour it in, and you just sand rubs it pretty well off.
That's like the orange or the orange. Mark, did you invent orange?
Yeah.
Mark, did you invent the orange stuff?
If
soap with the sand in it?
If I invented that, we would be sponsoring the Shop Class podcast.
The pumice, orange action pumice.
You guys ever use borax?
Let's go back a few days. Yeah.
Oh man, I've got boxes at the shop that are like have no internet address, no email, straight up like this thing is from the 50s.
I can't tell you, Ron, how many times you've been working at a place and you got stuff everywhere and you just go to the janitor's closet, whatever's there, you put it on, and if it stings, you move faster. We could probably edit that line out from the kids.
Look,
I don't know what that stuff has in it, but it's that grit of the orange cleaner. Whether you got grease or glue, that takes it off.
I think it's, believe it or not, like concentrated orange peel, and then the grit thing.
So when I have my kids do the turnings in class, they use I forgot the company. General Finishes used to have a finish called salad bowl finish. Well, they rebranded it and they called it wood bowl finish. Well, it leaves your hand like sticky because it's actually an oil finish. So I would tell the kids, you're going to need to wash your hands a couple times. But then when you're done washing your hands, you need to go find a pile of sawdust and wash your hands with the sawdust like this. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, get sawdust and rub it in your hands like this and do it like 5 or 6 times. And then I say, go back to the sink and rewash your hands again. And then they're like, holy crap, I can't believe I took it off. And it works. It works.
That is cool.
Let me ask.
The kids don't want to be dirty. They don't want anything on their hands. So they don't like the stickiness.
First time ever, biggest, baddest, tallest, toughest kids in the building get a tiny bit of oil on their hand and they go, oh, where's the hand sanitizer? Hand sanitizer? What are you talking about? That's at the end of the class, and you're going to use the orange pumice stuff. You're not going to use hand sanitizer. What?
Oh, man.
But it's not their fault, man. This is what they've been dealing with.
I said the engine oil keeps your hands nice and moisturized when I taught small engines. And,
it's really real. It's not just kids, Ron. I had a 40-year-old big dude, and he didn't look like you could trust him with a tool. Is like one of your main guy's brother-in-laws that needs a start. So I was like, just follow the lines and use, the little great stuff cans. I gave him the window, the real thin rise. And of course, within 5 minutes, the guy just had it all on his forearms and all on his arms. And I said, all right, sit in this chair for 3 minutes. It'll dry. And then I'm going to give you a rag and you wipe it down. So I come back. The dude's sitting there. Now he's got it on his face and on his everywhere, right? It was clearly going to be his last day. And I gave him a rag full of acetone, and I said, just wipe it off. That'll kill it, and then go rinse your hand. All the guys had just stopped for break, and all of a sudden you see this guy jump in the air from his chair and almost take my head off, because he thought that his hands were on fire. He's like, put it out, put it out, put it out. I'm like, and here's me. I just grabbed the acetone, I poured my hand. I'm like, it's gone. It's not there.
Oh, my gosh.
It's gone. And the guy ran to his car and drove away.
Oh, my God.
I couldn't believe it.
Oh, my God.
I spent his paycheck on acetone.
Hey, Mike, let me just introduce you to Mark and Sean a little bit. Mark is a builder and a tradesperson. He's been around for a while, but he's also represents the T-Stud, which I got to show you in a sec. But he does podcasts and whatnot, and so Mark, what were you guys talking about here? I see Sean's in the photo with you. What were you guys doing? And so also, can you introduce Sean a little bit so we get to know him a little?
Oh, Sean's going to introduce himself to tell you about this. I'm going to go downstairs and get a wobbly pop. I'll be right back.
So on Tuesday night, previous to January for about 60 weeks, straight weeks, we were doing the Passive House Accelerator Construction Tech events. We've now, because everyone's on Zoom, everyone's back to normal again, we've just have our accelerator events on Wednesday nights. So just before you guys get on the Shop Class podcast. And so we still had a few people that wanted to connect with us. And so one of the things that we found in the whole Passive House experience or Passive House world is people don't understand why Passive House is all about. And so I'm actually building this fart shack for my dad's backyard. Of course, you can build like 100 square foot shed. And my dad and I were contractors before I got into high performance building. And actually, as of last week, I've gone back to building. And so my dad always wanted to have this passive house shed. And so we were talking about that on our Tuesday nights about getting into high performance and creating a structure so that people can actually experience the real benefits of high performance. Because again, the comfort, the health, all that is an amazing feeling. But again, people just know what they know. And most of the time it's the shelter you live in. And a lot of times when you're building to code, I kind of tease people like, there's between code and high performance. I mean, a code house is really just a cabin with a really nice kitchen and bath. And so we want to get people to experience the shells.
I can demonstrate this really, really easily. I have my heat turned up. I am freezing. Okay? This is not a high performance house.
The fact that you have the hood over just shows of how warm.
Look, I got a hat on.
And a toque and a beanie.
And a scarf. I am cold.
So again, this is why, putting that sweater on your building, gift wrapping your house, is beneficial. So yeah, so Mark and I, again, so I'm in Vancouver. I've now gone back to building with a company here, and my backgrounds or my passion is sustainable prefab passive homes. And I actually met Mark through our accelerator event. So I've actually never had a beer with Mark. It's been about probably about 74 weeks in a row that him and I have gotten together and promoted passive house like events every week. Because before COVID, you literally had to go to IBS, you had to go to all these trade shows to learn anything. And now we're at an opportunity where we can go somewhere and virtually and connect with people. So you see a photo a little bit up earlier where it's a picture of sorry, I got dinner call. Where Mark and I are COVID brothers because we've never actually been in the same room together, but we probably talk every day about what we could do to figure out how to grow the high performance world or get high performance into some different avenue. So there's that picture there, Mark and I, where if you clicked on it, you go to the next one, that's the good old stepbrother. And so, you got to have fun with things. So I was able to do a little shopping of,
that's kind of what happened here is that the Shop Class podcast was started because shop teachers work in isolation.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We need to share ideas. I need to,
wow.
I want to talk to other shop teachers for a couple of reasons. One, inspiration. Two, technique. But three, let's say you're trying to navigate your school and then another teacher knows how to navigate that. You could talk to them about the navigation. Or if you've never done a project before and you want to talk about it, also, I get to learn. I literally had no idea about I understood that passive house was out there, but I didn't know what it was. And my favorite new term is the thermal break. This is my favorite thing in the whole world. And speaking of thermal break, let's go.
Yeah, you go to that, and I'll just. So I was explaining to it last week before my, I should have been calling as I was driving home, but so I pre-COVID, I was an instructor at our local technical school teaching the passive house tradespeople about passive house, and right now they've been able to convert and do it all online, and my wife's a teacher, so I have so much respect for all of what you're doing. Again, being able to educate local trades individuals is huge, and the fact that you guys are at it, again, I mean, my shop teacher, Mr. Ott from grade 8, I mean, we built these, that's on my parents, you know. So I have a full. You don't know how much respect I have for all of you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Build something with your hands and then be able to show your kids 20 years later what you did in shop class is great. Oh,
Say, Sean, you're making a passive shed with your father.
yeah.
Now that was something I was thinking about for our high schools. So Matt is lucky enough to build a house. We had a teacher on that last week from New Jersey.
Yeah.
And then school districts may not have always the space to build an entire house in their parking lot. But if I was thinking, if you can, a lot of schools do build those sheds, and they'll build them for either sports events or sometimes sell them. But that might be a way to get other schools involved in building the passive house. Now, I always thought it was just a shed and it's not insulated and, there's just a plywood floor on it. But if you could promote those passive house concepts, you're teaching the next generation of how to build a passive house.
And Mike, I hope you're enjoying this part. It's a little off the topic, but it's
it's cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool,
I'm all about it, man. I'm all about
Sean
it.
had to leave. Okay, cool. But yeah, that was nice meeting Sean. Is this what I think it is? Like you're building almost like what Duke was just saying. Is that
so? If you take Duke's idea of a shed footprint, and that's about the size of these ice boxes, which is what the evolution of the ice box is. What Sean mentioned, the experience, passive house experience.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, Sean's back.
Yeah,
Sean's
sorry
back.
about that. I gotta run and get dinner, but I'll let Mark carry on. But we'll have more. If you go to Tag Panels, for example, they've just got a couple more panels made today about it, and I'm happy to come back on in a few weeks when it's installed in my dad's backyard because
Yeah.
I want to make sure we can.
Yeah.
You said is to say, hey, here's what you need to do. This one's actually quite interesting because we've got a local company that got a grant to try to build and create a prefab system called Boss that ideally is the most sustainable building elements coming together. It's a Larson truss, which could easily be replaced by a T-stud. So it's pretty cool what we've things that we've got coming down the pipe. So I got to run for dinner, but
yeah, okay, Sean. Where would I find info on your shed project, or is it not up yet?
Yeah,
so if you scroll back down, there's keep going, right? The second row right there where your cursor is, click that.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Thank you, Sean. Nice meeting you.
Pleasure, guys.
See you, Sean. I'm gonna follow y'all on Instagram, man. I want to make sure I'm in touch.
Yeah, Sean.
I just clicked it too. Bye, guys.
See you, Sean.
Yeah, I wasn't following you, Mike, so I followed you.
Nice.
Yes, I'm gonna try to get on there and catch up a little bit. Sometimes I can kind of have a blind eye on things,
Oh, and also just so you guys know, Mike said yes to this, but then I forgot to send out an early reminder on like a Sunday or Monday, and on Tuesday night, I texted him in the middle of the night, like almost 11 o'clock, and he was nice enough to do this last minute. So I appreciate that, Mike. That was really nice of you.
Yeah, man, dude, this is amazing. Anything to help people out, man. Like, I'm all about teaching knowledge be passed down, and I've always kind of felt strongly about that, regardless of really what it is. I love that aspect of it.
Cool.
Absolutely.
I definitely, I'm a huge fan of this. But I'm probably going to have to take off here. I got to get all the kids kind of down and settle down. But, man, this has been so much fun. I mean, look, if you want to do this again sometime, man, I definitely this
we're here every Wednesday. In fact, I should tell you, next week we have What'd you say?
I got a podcast too, man. I'd like to can I use this on my podcast?
Absolutely. We're here to share for sure. Yeah, I can give you the file, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
And you're welcome back. The link is open. You could always come back. If you had something specific you want to talk about, just let me know.
What's the name of your podcast?
Oh yeah.
It's called the Outlaw Process.
How do I get to it?
Yeah, can you put it on GPS, Ron? I want to see where the Podcast.
Go to my. Are you on Instagram right there?
Yeah.
You should
There
be.
you go.
See, it says Drum Podcast right there.
Oh yeah. Oh, where does it say that?
Right there, Drum Podcast. It's got a picture. Go down.
Scroll left, Ron.
To your
It's in the
left.
Oh,
story.
there we go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just him playing his drums. That's all it is.
That link right there is it. What is that link?
It's just
So basically,
my
I'll
playing
interview
drums.
I'll go and interview all types of drummers and you know. Welcome to the Outlaw process.
Can you hear that? Can you guys hear that?
I hate listening to myself back again. Once I do a podcast show, it's done. I never go back to it.
No, this is cool, man. And like, I like that you kind of put a lot of music into it too, dude. You're very dynamic. You're the right. You're the right guy, Mark. You picked out the right guy for the show, man.
You got skills. I mean, to be able to edit all the stuff that you have for the drum thing, and now you're doing this here, like.
I do the music too, the production of the songs of it.
Wow.
With the samples. I really want to get into this doing samples and music. I love that aspect of it a lot now.
I think you're like disguising yourself. You're really like Phil Collins. You just got this disguise on right now.
What's that? How do we filter by, like, I always like to look at like the most viewed so that I could get a
All right.
sense.
All right, I'll tell you another one. Go down. I'll tell you a good one.
All right.
I mean, the drummer, I actually do interview of the other drum companies, like A&F Drums right there.
Oh yeah.
That's a big drum company.
Yep.
That and you know, like I said, we're friends, and that was the owner. We did an interview about talk drums and just kind of like what you're all doing here, but with drums. I'm actually like, because this is so like advanced in how I do it. Literally, this is how I was set up to do it. Like I was set up to.
Did you just say this is what we're doing tonight is advanced?
Like, yeah, this is
No.
how I do it right
No,
here.
it's
I
not
just
advanced.
record my phone conversation.
Oh wow, that's it.
That's it. Period. Boom.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I just, you know, but this is amazing. Like having to be able to see, you know, 5 people at once. Oh my gosh.
That's literally just the Google thing, only because the school has it too. And then I just upgraded the account so you could record, so anybody could do this.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely after talent and people that have an amazing story and just like they want to talk drums, or it don't even have to be about. You know, I don't even want it to be about Outlaw Drums a lot. You know, it can be talk about it, but you know, at the same time, I just want to know just to keep drummers into playing drums is kind of the focus, and not having them give up and just staying positive and keeping people focused. You know. And
Yeah, man, exactly.
trying to
I
save
agree.
the world.
Yes,
You should have some of us shop teachers on it.
Absolutely, that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, my brain's going. That's why I'm following. I'm reaching out because I try to post an episode once a week, and I'm a little bit down. Sometimes I'll manually do an episode. Like, what can I talk about? All right, I'll do this. But now this is available, so I was just like, man, maybe I can use this episode to post because I try to do it every Sunday.
Take it, man. Take it. I'll give you the file if this is what you want.
Yeah, I'll post it for sure.
No problem with me.
I put a little music intro in it at the beginning and make it sound, you know, and then I just kind of share it and put it on my
Sure.
stuff, you know.
Yeah, and we, you know, I put this on. What I do is I take it raw and I just throw it on our YouTube channel, and then I got busy, but I got 2 more episodes in hock, like ready to go. And let's see, no, not history.
You can send like a Dropbox link or something like that of the file. I'll just grab it and
yeah. So we have like these are all the episodes here.
Oh,
and
nice.
And then but I'm supposed to. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to put it on, you know, just audio only as well. This way, it's easier to consume.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little bit. It's not consumable like this. Is, you know, maybe someone watches 15 minutes, 20 minutes, but I can't imagine they would just stare at the screen for 2 hours. You know, so that's coming up next, and we're gonna pull out clips as well.
And we're still trying to migrate the 2 channels together.
Yeah, we got one other
trying
channel.
to do that.
Whatever. Yes. I've moved a few over. It's true. But we'll put this up here. But if you want to, I don't think there's no, like, I'll give you the file, but there's no conflict as far as algorithms or whatever. If there is, just let me know. But yeah, we'll just put them out there. That's fine. And if you ever wanted to have shop teachers that specifically do stuff like what Tim and Nick did, we could round up maybe a few and some drummers, and we can have like a shop teacher talk or whatever. So it's up to you, man, whatever you want to do.
I love talking shop. I could talk shop more than I could talk drums, I think. Just the fact of talking that kind of aspect. Because I love it all. You know, my heart's really in, you know, making furniture and that kind of stuff too. I love it. It's all fun.
This is awesome, man. We always have a good time. You know, the thing about it is funny. Every time we have this meeting, we're at the end of the night, I'm like, wow, I learned so much.
Pumped up, man.
Yeah, and we connect, and it's like, wow, now I know a guy that makes drums, and he loves making drums. And it's like, oh my god, and he does all that stuff. Like, how did that happen? It's amazing,
man. I get so pumped up doing the podcast. I just really, actually, I do the podcast just for myself. I feel like I'm doing it, but I really just I love the feeling of, you know, once you get everything done, and you know, just it pumps you up. It keeps you excited about it, and oh my gosh, it just it's super fun, man. I love it.
Cool, man. So, all right, well, we'll let you go. You know, keep in touch and whatnot. And you have to see this one crazy thing before you leave. You got to see this.
I want to make sure that I got everybody's contacts.
Sure. Okay.
On there too, as far as like
you got to see
Instagram
the
and
thing
stuff.
first. The T stud. This is like my favorite thing now.
Yeah, I was gonna. Let me see that thing.
All right, so this is like, wait, that one's filled in. Hold on.
Everyone needs a thermal break.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So look, this is like. He's opening it up. Actually, Mark should really explain it. But basically, okay, here you go. Instead of like letting the heat or cold transfer right through the way it would here, you have a break, but you got the structure. So what happens in the house is that it's like a reverse soda can. So if it's like, let's say it's warm on the inside but cold outside, you're going to get condensation on the inside, and that could create mold or whatever. And this and that. I know it sounds like a commercial, but I'm just interested in this. To me, it's like amazing. Like, and they break that transfer. And because they break the transfer, your energy is saved, but you don't have to spend as much to heat or cool your house. It's like an engineered product, but it's wood, you know?
Also, how do you run the pipes or wiring through that regular 2x6? You got to drill holes. There, the holes are already made for you. And then you insulate it with any material you want to.
You guys, the check is in the mail. Jesus.
Wow. That is
That's
amazing. That is amazing. Golly, look at that.
Luke, you're hired.
Well, that's because I listened to 2 podcasts. This is the 3rd podcast I've listened to your voice. I listened to the contractor handbook today.
Oh, that's got to be good.
That was a good one. It was a good one.
It was 3 hours, Duke, of recording. When it got done, because I thought it was 40 minutes, so I didn't eat. When it got done, I was so emotionally exhausted, I slept on my desk.
Yeah, he broke it up into 2 episodes. But you know what? A lot of shop teachers have the same. You were talking about the emotion you feel when you give the homeowners the keys after you build a building for them. And that's a tough thing to do, you're saying, because you're investing in that house or property that you built. A lot of shop teachers in the same position as you are, shop teachers 2 ways. One, they always have side projects going on, and they never want to finish that project because once that project is done, then they got to find another. You know, they want to keep that project going. And that's the same thing as being a teacher. You know, these teachers, we put our hearts and souls into it. And it just gets to the point, I think I've seen many years, teachers, you know, they don't want it to end, but at one point, you know, it's just, they're done.
Half of my family, Duke, is teachers, and I'll say they'll give one exception to that. They'll say, except when it comes to Michael. We don't want any Michaels, right? Right? There's always this name of this one student that was a difficult.
Yeah.
I would imagine the passing on of another grade of a student is kind of like passing on something you built for someone, a toolbox, a trike, or whatever. Same thing, right? You've seen you've seen the growth, you've had the laughs, you've had the struggles, and then there, it's gone. It's out of your hands, right? I mean, this, for instance, what's sitting on your screen right now, you have this incredible specimen that has more hours into it than anyone will ever measure, and you might never get to touch that again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's special, man. It definitely means a lot for sure.
Cool. Nice.
Do you have a place that you like have a hidden mark or a hidden signature that no one knows about?
I just sign the insides of them, date them, sign them. Sometimes I put on a detailed description. I'll glue a certificate for authenticity on the inside of it. Just something, if it's something really rare and special. I really just kind of wanted it to be passed down. A couple 100 years from now, 200 years from when I'm dead and gone, you flip that drum over, and there will be like a link that you can watch a YouTube video on seeing that drum made, and somebody can watch that particular thing, a long time after I'm dead and gone. That's kind of what I was really, that fascinates me there,
That's cool. Nice. All right. Yeah. Well, everybody put your
yes, man,
in the chat, and then this way Mike has it.
Let me do that, so I can definitely. I want to make sure that I follow everybody, and want to make sure that I want to keep tabs, man. And like I said, if y'all hear anything, or don't fit, reach out to me through the DMs or whatever, or however. I'll give you my phone number, But I should be able to get back to you as soon as I can. But this is I want to have y'all on the podcast show too.
Yeah,
we could do that.
That would be great, man. That would be great.
Yes,
I love it, man. You're doing great. Well, I appreciate you coming by. Oh my God, I gotta get to bed. I think I you know what it is? I did a cold plunge today. Like I actually went in 32 degrees or 33 degrees water in the morning. I thought it was this great idea. And now
that was voluntary.
What's that?
Yeah, that was a voluntary act.
Yeah. Actually,
I've been reading about that, man. Oh my gosh, I heard if you do that, like,
it's just
you're supposed to be not get sick no more. And be just
I would say
tough.
Afterwards, you need rest and food, and I didn't do that. I just kept going about my day. Actually, he's got the thing on here. You got to see this. Hold up. This is you got to see me when I was getting in. I went with a friend who knows what he's doing, and I didn't know what I was doing. Hold on a second. Let's see. Is it on Roots?
Are you with Brant wearing Speedos running in?
It's pretty crazy. Let me see.
that got your attention, Nick. I still want to delete that thread on Instagram just because I'm scarred by the comments.
Okay. All right. I got this for you. Just this silly thing at the end here. This is my buddy, Dom. He plays drums like unbelievable, like really kind of Fish jam band style. So this is us.
This is today.
This is this morning.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I took off of work today. Okay, that's me freaking out. And this is him totally calm, breathing.
Oh my gosh.
You know what though? If you see the bubbles behind him, he's actually in the hot springs part.
It looks like that spot is warmer.
I put my head in. I had to save some face. I was like, all right, I'll go in again. I'll put my head in. Look at how freaking cold it is. Like when I got in, I was like, what?
This is on Instagram and none of us saw this.
I didn't see this either. How long did you stay in? How long did you stay in that?
Like 30 seconds. 30 seconds, man. He stayed in for like a minute. It was insane.
You're about getting used to it in a minute. Goodness gracious.
It was too funny. I was just like, oh my God, it's so stupid. I don't know. I do stupid shit sometimes.
I think it's working though. I saw on there improves focus. You haven't gone to the GPS yet.
Usually, what I do is I grab the Google Map and I go to your like where you live, and we zoom in, and they're like, guys, they're like, dude, you're violating privacy here.
It's tough. That's totally okay. I don't care.
Cool.
But
All
hey,
right.
guys, thank you so much, man. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all, man. And
Thanks, Mike.
I'll definitely be looking. I want to make sure I follow everybody and everything. But yeah, this has been so much fun. I really appreciate talking to y'all, man. Thank you again so much.
Cool. Talk
All
to
right.
you again.
See ya.
I'm
Yeah,
end the
thanks.
recording
All right.
here. See you
All
later.
right. See ya.
Bye.